Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on this C6 Z06, replacing the stock head unit with a new Pioneer one with CarPlay, so that should be pretty nice. We're also installing a backup camera. 2008 wasn't really a thing back then, so let's get into it. Alright guys, sitting inside the Z06 now, you can see this marvelous head unit that comes with it from the factory from 1974. We're replacing with this Pioneer head unit up here. What you'll need to go ahead and splice together the radio harness with the factory harness. We went ahead and opted for the more expensive one here. It has a couple more features because we're some classy dudes. This allows you to retain your factory steering wheel controls as well as OnStar if that's something you're interested in. We'll leave links down below for everything if you guys want to check it out as well.
We're starting by doing the rear view camera just because it's early in the day, we don't want the sun later. We're going to start by removing this tail light. It's going to give us access to the reverse lights. There's a Torx screw down here. We'll just take this off. That gives us access to the inside. Now we're going to take this off over here. And this bottom one should pop out. There we go. We also want to, you don't have to, but we're going to take these two off. It's just going to make things easier. And it's a Chevy, so they're already loose. Alright, perfect. We come over here. This is the cables that we're going to plug into because they go to the reverse lights. Alright, so full disclaimer, in this car the reverse lights have been relocated to up here. It's possible that in your car the cables might be somewhere else, so you might have to be looking for them somewhere else. We've gone ahead and removed the interior liner. It's pretty easy, just two screws over here, two over here, and two clips up here. Our goal is to tap into this. It's the reverse light switch. We're basically going to connect over here and it's going to give us power to the camera.
So this is the backup camera we're installing. This one's actually pretty nice because it goes behind the license plate so you don't see the frame. There's a bunch of holes back here. We're going to go through this one so we don't have a cable sticking up. Taking out the headlight allows you to just reach in there and Andy got it, so that's perfect. I'll go ahead and put the license plate back on and worry about the wiring inside. So in order to get the cable through, you're going to have to go through a grommet in the back. I doubt you can see it here on camera, but if you come through on the inside, you'll be able to see it right here. We already went ahead and passed the cable through, and we put the license plate back on. This one in particular is a little flexible piece of metal. We're gonna adjust that later, but it's looking pretty good right now.
We've gone in and cut the harness on the light side as opposed to the vehicle side, just because it's easier. What we've done is we've connected the positive side to the positive, negative to negative, and now we're gonna solder this together. You can always use a tap, but in this case we had solder and it would be so much easier. So we heat shrink this back together, connected it back to the harness, connected the camera to the power, made sure that the reverse lights are still working. We're going to leave this how it is for now. We're going to move on to the head unit so that we can actually test this later.
Next step in here is to go ahead and remove the center console. We're going to try and pass the cables for the camera through the center. That way we don't have to take apart the outer edges of the car, which can sometimes be a bit of a pain. If we can pass them all through in here, we'll just connect straight to the back. Okay, so we're about halfway done taking apart this center tunnel here. It's pretty simple actually. This back piece is separate from the front. It's separated from these two screws here. There's also two back here. You'll have to pop off these little tabs in order to get to them, just little covers. I also went ahead and took out the actual armrest lid. It made it a lot easier. What you might run into is this here, where you can't see this until you actually take it apart. So make sure to get this out, otherwise you're gonna tear this into pieces.
Also the boot, you just pull it up.
Using a prying tool like this makes it easy. You can kind of just leverage the center console and it'll just pop right out. You can see the clips there. They're metal, so you should have no issues. We got the back piece out now. Looking through here, it looks like we're definitely gonna be able to just pass it over and through. Getting this out was simple as well. It's just held in with clips. What you'll have to worry about in this one is the cables that go to like the traction control button. I believe there are harnesses behind this as well, little connectors rather, and the boot. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out the boot, that way I can lift it out and start disconnecting the cables. All right, so we got it out. It was actually pretty simple. First thing, the boot, you can just pinch it. It has these clips that grip on. If you pinch it around, you'll be able to take it out. After that, we started pulling it out little by little and started disconnecting plugs. Up top, you have the hazards, you have the heated seats, traction control, and the cigarette lighter. These clips are a bit of a pain. It definitely helps if you have somebody to help out, an extra set of hands. We used a prying tool to help push down the clips just to make sure we don't snap them. Other than that, it was pretty simple, and now we have a ton of access to everything in here. Next step is to go ahead and remove our Sony 8-track here. So everything's out. We learned that you need to take out the AC, or at least it makes it a lot easier because you have access to actually grab the radio. Pretty simple. I mean, this is held in by 2 screws, so I definitely recommend you take it out. The radio's out, has a couple connectors on the back. You see them all here. It's just regular clips. The only one you may run into a little trouble is the antenna, but just go ahead and pull it straight out. You don't want to bend or anything. You wouldn't want to snap this inside of the radio because that'll render it useless. So be careful with that. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and finish passing the cable for the camera to the front here, and then we'll worry about mounting up the new head unit.
Just an update, we were able to run the cable from the back to the front. It's relatively easy. We went under the liner for the trunk. We're leaving everything kind of loose right now. We just want to test everything before we start closing. We're gonna move on to the head unit now. We'll run this under. Hello. Don't listen to the manual of the camera. All right, so we had a bit of a confusion, but we figured it out, and some things didn't make sense, but now they do. So this thing says nav output, so we kind of ignored it. Turns out we actually need it. So we need to connect this purple to the purple coming out of the radio that says reverse signal, and then we in turn need to connect that to the camera. So all 3 of these need to be together for the rear view camera to work. So we're gonna splice that together, and then we'll move on. We've tested to make sure that everything's working right now. Make sure the rear view camera is working, everything turns on, steering wheel controls are on. Now we're gonna run the mic for the Bluetooth, and we're also gonna clean up the back. We connected the mic over here. It was pretty easy to get it in. Just pull this out, run the cable, not much trouble. We also finished the rear. It's all the interior parts are back in. I just took apart all this cable so we can organize it properly, and then we're gonna be able to get this back in.
So in order to get this head unit to bolt up to the Corvette, we're gonna need some sort of adapter. We bought this metric kit here, and these go on the side. And he's currently looking where we can go ahead and install them because it does have some adjustment since this, has to be universal for all kinds of cars. We're gonna put it likely here so that it sits flush. We don't want it to stick out or be too in either. So we'll go ahead and screw this in, and then we'll go ahead and bolt it up to the car. We got the head unit in place, we got the AC unit in place. We managed to fit the chime near the glove box with some double-sided tape so we'll move around. The other boxes, we went ahead and placed them back there and put both of these on top. We've already connected all the sensors here, all the plugs, heated seats, hazards, traction control, and now we're gonna get the process started of putting it all back together. Alright, so we're all done installing. Honestly, a pretty straightforward installation. Everything's working. We've already tested out the speakers are working, Bluetooth calling is working, and most importantly, the backup camera is working, which is pretty cool. So the owner was worried about scraping his tips. I don't think he's gonna have to worry about that anymore. We'll finish aiming this up, we'll clean up, but we're good to go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more like it, subscribe. See you in the next one.
And we're like, oh, you don't know how to solder. Kobe. Kobe. Dolly. Kobe. 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 Action. Action. Kobe. Kobe.